Williamsville Sports Weekly is brought to you by your local country financial representative, Ed Legner. Please contact Ed for all your insurance and financial planning needs. His office is located at 318 Crossing Drive in Sherman, and he can be reached at 217-496-2341. But for now, enjoy the show. Welcome to Williamsville Sports Weekly, an in-depth look at both BB and Bullet athletics, hosted by our athletic director Adam Euchre and former Lady Bullets basketball coach John Hampton.
Welcome to episode 86 of Williamsville Sports Weekly, brought to you by Ed Legner, Country Insurance Financial Representative out of Sherman, Illinois. You can visit Ed for all your insurance and financial needs. John, we haven't been on the air in a while. I had a little bit of a life change with baby number 5 coming, and then Thanksgiving, and getting things kind of smoothed out when I got back, because obviously when you're gone, even though, this day and age you can work from home and get things done through electronic means, you still have some catching up to do. So finally glad we're getting to sit down and talk a little basketball before we head into break here. And it's amazing to think that, we're about a week and a half out from the holiday tournament here at Williamsville High School. Yeah, it's almost – and that – I always thought that was almost like the halfway point of the season once you get done with that. So things are going pretty quick, and especially when we haven't, you kind of measure how the seasons are going by how many times we've talked about the season. So it's really weird because we really haven't gotten into basketball too much, and we're almost at that halfway point, with the season. But a lot to look forward to in this. The boys tournament we're hosting has a ton of quality teams in it, and it should be some good basketball here in a week and a half here at the Dave Rook Court here at Williamsville High School Gym. Yeah, we'll talk about Rook Court here in a second, but going back to what you said about the holiday tournament, every year since I've been here, Coach Beard and I have said, man, this is the best field we have, and I think this year, tops the field that we've had before. Peoria Quest, a 1A charter school out of Peoria, getting the 1 seed. I think they're ranked 6th in 1A right now. And then you look at a 12 seed who we could see in the second round, Tolono Unity. I think when they did the rankings, they were 1 and 2, hadn't got a lot of their football kids back yet. But then they go and beat the Macon County champs, Argenta Oriana, the other night, who beat St. T, who we're playing tonight. I think, top to bottom, really between the 1 and the 12 seed, maybe even, down all the way to 16, anyone could win this tournament. Yeah, it's real balance. In prior years, you had Warrensburg the last 2 or 3 years. It was dominant. Plains had a really good team last year. But this year, I think anyone can win it, and I think we have a really good shot at winning. I know we've never won it, and I think this might be the team that gets it done because there's not a dominant team in here. And I know we're going to talk about us more here, but we're a quality team. We had the one loss on a last-second shot. Otherwise, we'd be the 1 seed, and so I guess it doesn't matter because if we make it far enough, we'll have to play the 1 seed in the semis anyway. But, yeah, it's a balanced tournament, and I look for the home team to do pretty well. Well, when you talk about that game against Athens, losing in the last-second shot, Maxwell just hit an unbelievable shot. We obviously could have sealed it with at the free throw line with 18 seconds left, and we've talked about that in previous years and previous episodes, how important free throws are. But I know, and Coach Beard talks about in his interview, Casey Tuttle, he has 31 points against North Mac in the season opener, and then doesn't score at all in that game. And to have him not score and still be able to be in that was just unbelievable. Yeah, and that's a whole season full of adjustments. He comes out and is really his first varsity full action, hits 31, and now all of a sudden you're the focal point of a scouting report. I'm sure he was the focal point of the Athens scouting report that night, so they knew where he was at all times. And then now he's learned better how to play as the focal point of the scouting report. You've seen he's starting to score some more. Kids are getting him open a little bit more, and it's an adjustment. It's a whole season of adjustment, especially when you're a junior that hasn't played a lot of varsity, and coaches learn how to use him too. We've had good shooters, but he's a dead-eye shooter. He's kind of like the Collins kid from Plains, and we're finding better ways to use him. He scored some over at Mount Pulaski the other night, and it's different when you all of a sudden you're the number 1 focal point of a scouting report, and I think we found that out against Athens. But the team, Joe Mitchell had a good game. The guards did a good job of getting the ball down low, and it was a good basketball game. We did it on the Bullets TV, and it was a good game to watch, a good game to broadcast. So that could be a showdown and maybe in a regional or in a county tournament here, coming up. Well, and what's really cool, and we talk about this with Coach Beard in his interview, and we even talk about it in our player segment with Jake Pennell. But you're really starting to see Coach Beard's system year in and year out.
Yes.
You know, he loses quite a bit of scoring from, about 80% of his scoring. And then we're still right there, and it's because of that defense. And then you're even seeing on the girls' side too how Coach Halford's system is finally coming around. The girls have seen it, year in and year out. We look at the game last night. They only allow 18 points against a Riverton team through 4 quarters, 7 in the first half. They only had 1 field goal in that first half, and that's the frustrating thing about, you look at sports and especially at the professional level, the college level, and even some at the high school level, where they don't allow coaches to get their system installed. We expect instantaneous results, but when you finally get it installed and you see it work, from junior high all the way up, things start to pay dividends, especially when you lose top scoring from the year before.
Yeah, and the kids have a belief in it because they've been successful in it at the younger levels, and they come up and they're comfortable. And it's the old, you can't think and react. You can't react as quick if you're thinking. And what I really like about this year's team and last year's team, but boy, they seem to play together so well. And last year's team was the same way. And it's different kids, so it's a culture. It's a culture that's been cultivated by Coach Beard. And the defense will always be there because he's going to stress the defense. But, boy, they play together well and they care for each other. And when you have different kids come in and they still have that same culture, a lot like our volleyball program does, it's more of a culture instead of just a group of kids that were close. He's plugging kids in and out, and it's I really like watching his teams play, and this team's just the same as last year. They're just solid. They probably get the 4 seed this year because they're just solid. They're not flashy. They just beat people, and that's what he's going to want. And every now and then you'll get an all-state type player, but when you don't have that all-state type player, then that's when the program takes over. And he's got a program team this year.
Real quickly before we move into that interview with head basketball coach Nick Beard, real cool thing on Tuesday, December 6th, home opener against Athens. We were able to dedicate the court to our late superintendent Dave Rutt. And obviously you knew Dave longer than I have with being here a little bit longer, but you were part of the broadcast and stuff. And it was a really special night, and I'm glad we got to do that, and I think it turned out really well. And then 1450 did an excellent piece of, interviewing several people that were close with Dave and knew him personally, and then, even having his son play on the court that night at halftime. It was just a really cool experience, and to be able to do it with Athens, too, to have that tie-in because he was principal there. You don't get to do that stuff that much, and I feel like we've named a lot of facilities over the last few years because we've had such great people here. But that one was just a little bit more special. Yeah,
and it was nice to have his son out there playing at halftime, and it seemed like it gave Julie, his wife, a nice platform to thank people, for the outpouring, since September when he passed away. It seemed like it gave her a public forum to just say thank you to everybody. And it was kind of a good capper to kind of a first semester of just a feeling of a loss around the district, and it was almost like one last thank you we could give, and Julie could give back, and maybe he's always going to be there in our memory, and it kind of like a little lid lifter. Maybe we can kind of move on just a little bit, and he's always going to have his name on that court, and it was pretty neat. And I know Dave's, to me, because I'm a basketball coach, but I know I think Dave's first love in sports was basketball in that gym, and he loved watching basketball and coaching basketball. And I remember he told me 4 or 5 years ago that every day that goes by, he loved being a superintendent, but he wished he could still be coaching basketball. So it was cool that that's a place where he could leave that name, and you guys could do that for him. That was pretty neat.
Yeah, hopefully a lot of people get out to be able to see that and see how we put his name on the court and his signature. So it was really cool, and like you said, it'll be there forever.
Yeah, so. Yeah, it was a good night. You get concerned about emotions and stuff, and I know I told you afterwards I was kind of concerned, but boy, it came off really well. It was just well done. You couldn't have scripted any better. It was a lot like, of course, on a different emotional level, but last year when you brought the state tournament team in, the team that got fourth, the boys,
the 90-91 team.
Yeah, that just came off really well timed and everything, and I was just thankful that Julie could sit there and publicly thank everyone, that just gave her a good forum for that, and we could honor him one more time.
As always, follow us on Twitter at WCSD15 Sports for all your news and score updates on both BB and Bullet Athletics throughout the 16-17 school year. Facebook as well, facebook.com/WHS Bullets for both the high school and the high school athletic department, and the podcast as well, Williamsville Sports Weekly on iTunes. You can subscribe to us so it comes to your podcast feed every week. Rate, review us so other people know about it. We're also up on YouTube as well. We put it up there, or the athletic page on the district webpage, WCSD15.org. Just click on the athletics tab, and this episode, as well as all the past episodes, are up there as well. When we return, we'll be joined by head boys basketball coach Nick Beard.
Next time you're in the market for insurance or financial planning, stop by and see Country Financial Representative Ed Legner at 318 Crossing Drive in Sherman, or give him a call at 217-496-2341. And now, back to the show.
Welcome back to Williamsville Sports Weekly, presented by Ed Legner, Country Insurance Financial Representative out of Sherman, Illinois. You can visit Ed for all your insurance and financial needs. Sitting with us right now as we're sitting in his office as he's breaking down some film for the upcoming week's head coach Nick Beard. Looking at your non-conference schedule, Coach, and we'll talk about, county and holiday tournament and postseason here in a little bit, but the one nice thing is you're seeing a different style almost on a nightly basis, which ultimately then really helps you come postseason because you've seen a lot of teams who maybe have played other teams and then a lot of different styles between zone and man-to-man and different offenses and stuff. Talk to us about that how, at the time, it can be really stressful because you can't really get in maybe a groove per se with seeing consistent styles of play, but in the long term, it really helps you out.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at our schedule as a whole, the conference is obviously loaded, but then out of conference, each year we've made an effort to make it tougher and tougher. And, this year a couple of our people we picked up was St. Joe Ogden, who won the state tournament last year, Decatur St. Teresa, who was in the state championship 2 years ago. And, that's who we got tomorrow. And, yeah, like you said, the other night was our first our non-conference game versus Mount Pulaski, and that was the first zone we'd seen all year. And then seeing Mount Pulaski tomorrow, or seeing St. Teresa tomorrow, they are a team that we typically don't see in the Sangmo, just with the athletes they have and the size. They play a 2-2-1 back to a 2-3, and it's kind of like Porta, but a little bigger and more athletic, across the board. So it's good for us. Like you said, it's different styles. It prepares us for the postseason, and we look forward to the challenge.
Well, and then you have common opponents. St. T has played Argenta.
Right.
Argenta played Tolono Unity the other night, who we could see in the second round of the holiday tournament. So it gives you a lot of the common opponents that helps you prepare as well later on.
Yeah, it's something, I don't think a lot of Central Illinois or even Sangamo teams see is, we go see a lot of those teams from Decatur. We went up and played a team out of Peoria. We got a couple teams from Peoria coming down for the holiday tournament. So we just, schedule teams. We're going to play St. Joe. We're playing Downs Tri Valley this year. And, it seems like everybody we've played, has played someone else on our schedule. So, it's easier to get film that way and kind of compare and contrast some things and, get the kids best prepared they can be.
We talked about the holiday tournament a little bit, and each year it seems like the competition within the tournament is better than the previous year. And we look at it this year, and you and I were talking the other day, and, from top to bottom, anyone's got a chance to win it. And, we just talked about our Argenta Oriana, who won the Macon County tournament. Tolono Unity beats them the other night then. Yeah. So just the level of competition is just unbelievable, and I would put it up against any tournament in terms of holiday tournaments across the state of Illinois in terms of the competition that's here that week after Christmas.
Yeah, I hate losing teams, when I decide not to come back, but, we decided to fill teams with, teams that we feel are going to be competitive and, bring good competition to the tournament. And, this year is no different. Tolono Unity had only played 3 games, at the time of the seeding, and they were 1 and 2. They're going to end up at 12 seed. Like you said, they just knocked off the Macon County champs the other night, and then Peoria Quest, who we brought in, is 12 and 0 going into tonight. They play again, and they'll be the 1 seed. There's 3 undefeated teams. We were talking at the county tournament with some coaches last night, and everybody agreed, couldn't believe how stacked the tournament was. I'd say there's a handful of 7, 8, 9 teams that on any given night could go out and knock off anybody in the tournament and potentially win the tournament. So it'll be a challenge, that's for sure.
Now you played in the tournament in high school.
Yep.
Looking back then, is it more competitive now than it was then? Has it kind of stayed the same? About the teams that we've gotten in or that have stayed in. Kind of talk to us about that level of competition over the past 15 years.
I think across the board, the strength, it's definitely tougher now than it was then. I think before it used to be top heavy. They had 2 or 3 or 4 really good teams, but you could almost predict who was going to be in the semifinals. And that's back when CPCI was really good and they were in the tournament. And Plains had those years where they had gone to state a couple of years, and but then there was also, and nothing against some 1A schools, but there was more 1A schools then, in the tournament and local, and we've kind of gone outside, by bringing in, a Tremont from, the Peoria area, Peoria Quest, we mentioned, St. Joe, Warrensburg's that have been in it for a while. So teams we typically don't see around here, come to this tournament, and, everybody says the same thing. It's a great tournament, and the competition, is going to be good.
Switching gears back to, this year's team, once again, you've had to replace a large amount of your scoring from the previous year with the graduation of, Matt Watson, John Beal. You look at our Matt Watson and Harrison Cresswell, John Beal on the defensive side, who was really an unsung hero. I still tell people all the time, one of the best moments that I have in my mind from last year is when he set that pick on the kid from Peoria Christian that got Watson open for that 3, and I still can't believe he didn't get a big nasty for it. And one of the few times you see a smile on John Beal's face is when he put that kid right on his rear. But this has kind of been a common thing for you with having to replace your scoring, but ultimately it doesn't really hurt you because of the style that you run and your emphasis on defense. Talk to us about that a little bit.
Yeah, losing Matt and Harrison, I think someone mentioned it was probably 80 or 85% of our scoring, and we don't score a lot anyways. So, but, we focus on defense, and you got to play on the defensive end if you want to play for us. And, I think it shows that the other night we were down to Plains and we went on a 26-3 run. The other night against Mount Pulaski, we were down in the third quarter. We went on a 21-5 run, and so these boys have kind of bought into that. But year in, year out, we may change some things offensively. Obviously, this year we didn't have a 6'7" kid, and that's been for the first year. First time since I've been the coach. We had Tyler Burdine before Harrison, and so we've tweaked some things offensively and. Try to get some plays or quick hitters for our shooters. And, we got Joe inside, but, again, he's not 6'7", so, the lob's not there as often. And, we had, runs a little bit more ball screens. But the one thing that stays consistent is our defense. And, we kind of play that pack line defense, and we'll win games in the 30s and 40s, and it's ugly. And, I think someone said last night, you're not the flashiest of teams. And, people watch film, and I'm sure they're like, how do they win? But, we just make it tough for other teams to score, and we got a lot of kids that buy in and do the dirty work, and rebound and take charges, and they have fun doing that, while other teams would rather score the basketball. So that's just our style, and it seems to be working so far. So hopefully we'll continue to get better.
You talk about shutting the kid down. You look at an Isaac Collins the other night. 3 out of the 4 quarters, I think he may have had 2 points, and he kind of went off a little bit in that fourth quarter. Cole Greer goes down, but that's a perfect example right there, being able to shut a kid down.
Yeah, I mean, Plains, has a couple weapons definitely with Isaac and Cole and the Clemens kid inside, but he was our main focus, is not letting him go off, because he's a kid. If he sees a couple go through the hoop, he could go off for 25 or 30 and really make it a long night for you. So, that was a team effort too. Jake chased him around, but he got in foul trouble, and Kenton and Zach and whoever, if they found it in transition. And I think he ended up with 2 points through the first 3 quarters, and that's kind of how we were able to build, I think a 10-point lead or a 13-point lead actually after the third quarter. And then, he's going to get his. You're not going to shut a kid down like that, but you'd like to, like to make them work for it. So, that was a team effort.
You talk about, you shut a kid down in Isaac Collins. Look at how Athens shut us down. Casey Tuttle not scoring any points that night, but then we still only end up losing by 1 point. I mean, you had to be happy as a coach with he doesn't score at all. He gets one or two baskets after getting 31 against North Mac in the opening weekend. That kind of shows how balanced you guys are on offense and how there's 3-4 different guys that can score for you.
Yeah, looking back on that game and after we watched film, we said overall we were pretty happy with the effort, and the way they created a lot of mismatch problems for us. But if you would have told me before the game Casey wasn't going to score, I would have taken. I wouldn't have thought our odds were too good. But to think we had the ball shooting free throws up one with 18 seconds to go, and we just didn't make a couple plays down the stretch, and the Maxwell kid made a tough play. But we had some different guys step up. I think. After doing stats today, we got 3 kids averaging 12 or more points. We got a couple other around 7 or 8. The other night versus Plains, I think our 3 seniors, Zach, Sexton, and Basket had 7, 7, and 8 apiece. And then you're getting, 15, 16 from Joe and Casey and Pennell. And, you'll take that 6 or 7 guys each night in the scoring column, scoring 7 or plus points. So, that's a positive so far on the offensive end. See some balance.
Well, and that gives you, too, an opportunity when you're in a tight game where if someone's not giving you production, you have 5 or 6 other kids that can step up and make a big play for you.
Yeah, I think in the past, really, we've had Matt and Harrison, the last couple of years, so I think everybody could kind of focus on them. And, we could use Casey as a decoy or use – Pennell as a decoy and run them off screens and maybe try to get somebody else for an open shot. So, yeah, hopefully down the road here that plays to our strength and somebody can step up and hit a big one when they're focusing on somebody else.
Now, besides that being the home opener against Athens, obviously it was a special night for everyone here at Williamsville with the naming of the court after our late superintendent, Dave Rutt. Talk to us about how special that was for you because you obviously had a personal relationship with him before even working here with, your dad being a big mentor for him. And how special was that for you to be able to be a part of that experience, then be able to play on that court after that?
Yeah, I mean, first off, you got to thank all the fans and the community support we had that night. It was a special evening, and, I think for Tuesday night, I think Chase from 1450 said there's cars lined up all the way down the road. And, it was just special for – not only us to be a part of, but for Julie and the family. And, as you previously said, we've been family friends with them for a while. And, he meant a lot to us and my dad. And, if Dave was here, he probably wouldn't have liked the naming of the court just because he's kind of humble and he doesn't like all the attention. But, I'm sure he appreciates it. And, I don't think anybody understands how much influence and, decision making he had, when it went to redoing this court when we did it, and he wanted things to be done the right way, and if we were going to overhaul the whole thing, he was going to make it right, and I think it's something that will be there forever, and it's pretty awesome.
Well, like I said in my speech that night, he had his hand in everything, and regardless of what Doug or I said, his opinion trumped all of ours. Yeah, with even like just little things with color schemes and stuff. But it was definitely a great night, and if those of you that are listening haven't had a chance to check it out yet, channel1450.com did a great in-depth piece. Interviewed both of us, interviewed your dad, Scott Laird from Athens, Clay Scheffler, junior high principal, Stacy Carlson, our volleyball coach, BJ Halford, our girls basketball coach, and put a really nice piece together about the whole thing. So hopefully you guys have checked that out already. Coming up next, interviewing one of your seniors, Jake Pennell, and I know he put a lot of work in this summer to kind of get where he's at, and a lot of leadership work too, and we talk about that, him being a member of the Captain's Council too. But to see him grow over these last 4 years, kind of talk to us about that a little bit, and to see that maturity level and to see that stuff just blossom in his senior year.
Yeah, I mean, he's somebody that that's why you coach, to see a kid like that come along the way he has and all the time and effort and just a good kid on and off the court. And, like I said, I think he's in AP classes and he had a good ACT score. And, we're pretty fortunate. We have great kids anyways as it goes. But, I was looking back as a freshman, I don't even think he started on the freshman team. And, he grew a little bit and started coming along a little bit his sophomore year. And I think it was at the end of his sophomore year, we thought, hey, we might have a player on our hands, and we actually called him up to be a part of the postseason roster just so he could be along and get the experience because, we saw some things in him. And it was kind of that sophomore to junior year where he kind of took the next step and, he knew he had to put a lot of time in. He got stronger and faster and, worked on his shot. And, last year is kind of a little bit of coming out party. He came off the bench for us just because we liked bringing another dimension off the bench, and he was able to score and bring us some energy. And then even going into this offseason, then, he was kind of one-dimensional last year. He could catch and shoot, and, he's added more to his game, and he can get to the hoop, and he's actually playing out of position right now, playing the point guard, but he just does it all for us. I said he chased Isaac around. Tomorrow night he's going to chase the Bond kid around probably for 32 minutes, handle the ball, plus we're asking him to score some. So we ask a lot out of him, but, I think I heard a coach last night saying, man, I really like that kid. He just gets it, and, he does. I mean, he's put in the time. He's a great leader. I think he deserves everything he's going to get this year, and, I'm happy to see him be successful.
One last question before we close it out here. Another kid that you coach that you've been able, now that you're able to coach with, Jack Sabudas, being able to see him too. And, a really short turnaround with him playing for you for 2 years, 2 years ago now, and then now being your freshman coach. How proud does that make you that, he reached out and said, hey, I want to do this when we were kind of in a tough bind looking for a freshman coach, and I know you've been really happy with his effort so far this season.
Yeah, it's actually neat, and you would think, you always think as a coach you'll probably have somebody come along, after you've coached them, but this probably happened a little bit more faster than I expected. 2 years out, he played with some of these kids, but he was a kid that's just a basketball junkie, and when he decided not to play in college, I think he probably regretted it, and he just wanted to do anything he could to be around the program, be around the game still, and he'll be the first to tell you he's still learning, but he's put in a lot of hard work, and he asks questions, and he's at everything, and it's nice to see he's got off to a good start here at the freshman team, and he's getting better and better, and if he wants to stick it out, he'll be a good one someday.
Well, Coach, thank you so much for taking time out of your day as you prepare, for the game tomorrow night and obviously the holiday tournament. I obviously hope we get a big crowd out tomorrow night. Weather's cleared up a little bit. Yep. And then obviously a holiday tournament 26th, 27th, 28th, and 29th here at Williamsville High School. But before we let you go, anything else you'd like to add or tell the listeners out there?
No, like I said earlier, we just appreciate all the support, and hopefully we continue to come out and support the Bullets.
When we return, we'll be joined by senior point guard for the Bullets, Jake Pennell.
If you can't make it out to the game, you don't have to worry about missing a moment of the action by following all BB and Bullet athletic happenings on Twitter at WCUSD15Sports. And now back to the show.
Welcome back to Williamsville Sports Weekly, presented by Ed Legner, Country Insurance Financial Representative out of Sherman, Illinois. You can visit Ed for all your insurance and financial needs. Sitting with us right now, senior guard for the Bullets, Jake Pennell, and what I'm kind of surprised looking at right now is your hair. Your hair's not as big as it normally is. And I know last season, Beard kind of didn't he have some kind of bet with you or something where you could keep your hair growing based on how many shots you made? And I could have that completely wrong, but I guess my first question is, why is your hair not as big as it was last year? And then as a follow-up, what was that bet that Beard had with you? Because I think midway through the season you had to end up cutting your hair.
Yeah, I had to. It was like a bet where he said as long as I kept shooting good, I had to keep my hair because it was long coming in this season last year. And then I started like not shooting very well in the middle of the season around county time, and I got it cut. I think the game before Rochester, and we went on to beat Rochester and lose the Plains in the county championship. And then I didn't get it cut after that until the summer. But I got it cut short. It was pretty long to take care of. It was getting annoying, and it was like for homecoming purposes, had to look a little better.
Oh, so it was there was a lady behind the reason you got it cut then.
Ish.
Okay. You don't have to tell everything on the air here, so.
Yeah, that's in the past. We'll say that.
Okay, well we'll just leave it at that point. So I guess the thing is are you gonna is that hair gonna return at all this season, or are we kind of seeing the style that it's gonna be for the rest of 16 into 2017?
Yeah, not this season. I'll just probably keep it growing after school, after the season's over, and then during summer hopefully. But Coach Beard's strict no headband policy kind of comes into effect when the hair's down your eyes and you can't really see.
Well, I guess you could always put a barrette in maybe. I know my girls, they put barrettes in their hair. So
yeah, I got 2 sisters, but I don't think I can do that.
Well, moving away from your hair and going back to last season, obviously your kind of coming out party was against Athens last year. That's really where you jumped on the scene. Real similar to this year with Casey went against North Mac, where I think he had 31 against North Mac. I don't remember how many points you had against Athens, but you really went off in that third quarter, hitting a huge shot to end that quarter that ended up allowing us to go on a big run and really ended up blowing them out. Talk to us about that and kind of how that motivated and carried you throughout the season, because then you had that exclamation point at the beginning. You really became a threat throughout the season. Then you had a big shot in the regional championship against Porter to allow us to win. So kind of talk to us about all that and coming on the scene last year against Athens.
Well, I really put in a lot of work coming into junior season. I knew we didn't really have any shooters, and I had to become, an outside threat last season. And I really hit like a low coming into the holiday tournament, and then kind of through about, county, wasn't shooting it well at all. And the middle of the season was like, it was pretty bad for me shooting wise. And then at the end of the season, I really stepped it up. I started making shots, and our team was playing a lot better. And I realized that without Matt, without Harrison, without John, we're gonna need some offensive scoring threats, and I can't go through those droughts like I did last year if we want to be a good team this year.
One thing that I really noticed with you coming out of last season, throughout the spring and even in this fall, is how you and Casey would constantly be in the gym together working on stuff. Talk to us about how you knew you would have to step up as a leader this year and kind of fill that void with some of those guys leaving that you just talked about, and the work ethic that you had not only in the spring but in the summer. I know you play a lot of travel ball, and talk to us about that a little bit.
Yeah, I encouraged people to get in the gym as much as they could. I know with football in the summer, that's really hectic and that's a lot of time consuming. But, Casey doesn't play football. I don't play football. Sexton doesn't play football. So, we were in the gym all the time during the summer. In the spring last year, we were getting shots up. We knew that we had to become leaders, and we had to get better offensively and a lot stronger, a lot quicker if we wanted to compete against the teams this year.
Now, I know external expectations for this team year, for this particular season, within the press and in the greater, Springfield area, were probably not very high. We lose Harrison Cresswell, Matt Watson, who was a 3-year starter, John Beal, who wasn't a big scoring threat, but was unbelievable on the defensive side of the ball. And not a lot of big guys this year. But internally within the team, kind of what were your expectations, and are you guys kind of at the point where you felt you'd be at so far in the season?
I think we're playing really good basketball right now. Everybody's contributing. It's not one person's having 30 points and the rest are having under 5. Like against Plains, I knew I scored in the teens, Joe scored in the teens, and everybody else was, around 7, 8, 9 points, and that really helped out when, we can spread the floor with everybody. Everybody was shooting well that night, and, everybody's making shots, and that makes it a lot easier for the offense and for me to get open looks when I'm going, just against one guy instead of more than one person coming at me. If I'm the only scoring threat, or like Casey, him getting really like a no catch against Athens and him not scoring that game, that hurt us with Casey not scoring. But Dart hit shots, I hit shots, Joe had a good game, And we've been playing really good, and I think that needs to carry on to the holiday tournament if we want a chance of winning.
How much more confidence does it give not only you but the team with the system that Coach Beard has put in, where really the focus is on defense and we're creating havoc to be able to create scoring? You know, you look at the Plains game last Friday night. I think we're down 22-13 about midway through the second. We ended up going on a huge run that was really sparked by defense and free throws, and ended up winning that game 61-52. So talk to us about that defense and how that kind of translates into confidence on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, we're a small team, but we'll get after it. We're a scrappy group of guys, and it all starts on the defensive end. I think we went on a 26-3 run against Plains, and the number that really stands out to me is the 3, because that was huge. They're a really good offensive team, and we held them to 3 points for a long time, and that's what really helped us. We still need to work on some rebounding stuff, but our defense, ball pressure, that's on point right now.
Well, I think one of the key things in that is the Collins kid. I don't think he even scored until the fourth quarter. I mean, and that's huge. What was stopping one of the top shooters in the area.
Yeah, he just came into IC. He's a really good player, and he holds the school with 3-point record. And it's always fun playing against him. I get to guard him most of the game, and it's it's like a inner battle I have with myself. I gotta not just bring the ball up, run the point, but I need to stop Isaac on the defensive end if we want to have a chance at winning that game.
Now, your schedule does not get any easier for you guys coming up here, and that's one of the things that we've done not only with basketball but with all of our schedules, where we can kind of manipulate things, is to give you guys the best competition possible in order to prepare you for the postseason. Tough fought win last night at Mount Pulaski as we're recording this here on Wednesday, the 14th of December. First time you guys saw a zone last night, so a little bit different of a look, and you'll probably see some zone coming up here. But you got St. T coming in, one state 2 years ago, and then you move right into the holiday tournament, probably one of the most loaded fields we've had. One of the top teams in 1A Peoria Quest, getting the top seed. Tremont got the 2. Porta, who we've seen in and out, they're undefeated right now, get the 3 seed. And then, we got the 4. And, I mean, any one of the 16 teams can win it in there. But talk to us about that schedule and how that gives you guys confidence throughout the year, knowing you can play with anyone.
Yeah, Coach Beard just picked up St. Joe. They won state last year, and they returned that Brandon Trimble kid. I watched him have 46 points in the state semifinal game, and he's crazy. He's really good, and it's scary. He had 46 as a junior. And then, this week, this Friday, we play St. T, who only beat Auburn by about 1 or 2, and that didn't really look like a good win until Auburn knocked off Athens last night, and that was a huge win for them. I'm close with a couple of guys over there, and that puts everybody at 1 loss so far in the conference. And but St. T's a really good team, St. Joe's a really good team, and every other team we play, like, our conference is loaded. Every team in the conference has a chance to win it, or if not, tie for first. And it's going to be a dogfight every night for us.
Now, you talked about Auburn there. They had a huge win last night over at Athens. Gives Athens their first loss. We'll talk about that Athens game last week here. But looking at that, county seeds will come out tonight. Does that, depending on what we get, we could be anywhere from a 1 to a 3 seed, probably looking at everyone's record right now. Does that? Do you look at that, or do you just look at who's in front of you and we're going to go play this team and we're going to put our best effort forward? Does if we don't get a seed that you guys feel is appropriate of our body of work, does that give you guys extra motivation?
Not really. We just the 4 teams. I know Athens is coming into the county tournament, and we beat Plains. Athens beat us, then Auburn beat Athens. It's kind of just a random pick for 1 through 4, I guess. But we just look at it as one game at a time, and if we don't win the first game we play, there's no way we can win the tournament. So we got to take it one game at a time, and whoever we play, we're going to play.
Now moving in over to last week, tough loss against Athens, and I'm losing by 1 point. Hunter Maxwell hits an unbelievable shot with about 3.9 seconds left on the clock, and we take our first loss of the season. But on top of that, it was a special night with name in the court after former Superintendent David Rutt. And you had a great quote after we beat Plains. You said in there that you kind of you personally and the team as a whole had a bad taste in our mouths after losing to Athens. Not only losing to Athens, but because we were playing for something bigger. We were playing for Mr. Root. Talk to us about how special that was for you to be able to be a part of that night and to play on that court for the first time after we named it.
Yeah, last Tuesday, that was more than just a conference game. Of course, it's a big game, Athens being ranked first in the power rankings, and we really wanted to get that just for the conference race. But also, with Mr. Root passing away and them naming the court after him that night, we really wanted to get the first win on that court. But we didn't, and there's nothing we could do about that. So Friday was a huge. We had to come out ready from the get-go and really get that for him. It was more in a game Tuesday. So
now with that game as well, I thought Athens, the Athens coaching staff and some of the players had some really nice things not only say about you, but the atmosphere that we have here, and we always try to create the best atmosphere for you guys as possible. What is it like to play here in such a hyped up, ramped up atmosphere, and then do you realize how special it is when you go to other places and it's maybe you can hear a pin drop in the gym?
Yeah, it's great playing here. Everybody, a lot of people come out to these games, and we really appreciate it as a team, and the community really supports us. The students come out and they have themes most nights for games, and it's really cool to see and hear them chanting, getting into it actually. And that's the thing. We go to their football games, we go to the girls' basketball games, and we all we're a tight group at this school, and it's really cool, really cool.
Now, kind of wrapping up, obviously you're in your senior year, and I know it's probably hard to believe for you, but it's hard to believe for me since you were a freshman when I started here. So, I mean, these last 4 years have gone by extremely fast. But looking ahead, kind of what are your plans moving forward as you're looking towards graduation in less than about 6 months here?
Yeah, it's crazy. About a semester. I only have 1 semester left at high school, and then it's a summer with all my buddies, and we'll all go our separate ways. And I'm not really sure right now what I want to do. I'm getting a couple looks to go play basketball at the next level, and I'm gonna go play basketball somewhere. But yeah, it's just kind of surreal thinking about college and not going first day of school, seeing all my buddies, and we'll be different states, different friend groups, and it's just weird being the people we grew up with. Not just not seeing them all the time, not hanging around them. It's gonna be weird.
Now, you said you don't really know what your plans are yet. Any possibility that you'll follow in the footsteps of your dad? And I don't know if a lot of people know this, but your dad used to fly F-16s in the military, currently flies for Southwest. Any aspirations to do that, or are you going to go a completely different route?
I've thought about it. He's got a really cool job. Being home 4 days a week and then getting to fly a plane the other 3 days, just all over the country. It's a cool gig he's got going on. I think that's the route I'm probably going to go into, but it's not decided yet.
Now, I remember when I was little, my dad would kind of let me drive the car a little bit. Have you ever been able to fly the plane with him in the cockpit, or is that kind of off limits?
No, I've never flown a plane. Never been back there with my dad. I think he's probably scared to let me do that. He doesn't trust me yet, but he will sooner or later.
Well, Jake, once again, thank you so much for coming on today and taking time out of studying for your big calc quiz coming up here. I know you're getting ready for finals here, and you said you want to pad that grade a little bit before that big test next week. Yeah. So we wish you the best luck on your calc quiz 6th hour today. But before we let you go, anything else that you'd like to add or tell the listeners out there?
Definitely. I'd like to say, thank you to my parents first and foremost, because without them I wouldn't be where I am today. They've really pushed me to be what I am right now. And I couldn't thank them enough. And my teammates, I have their back. They all have my back. We're a big family, especially the coaches too. We're all really tight, and I love it. I love those guys to death. Couldn't thank them enough. And this community out here in Williamsville, they got my back. They got our team back, and I couldn't be more thankful.
Well, Jake, like I said, once again, thank you so much for coming on. Obviously, hopefully we have a big crowd here on Friday, St. T coming to town, and then a little bit of time off before we start the holiday tournament up, 26th, 27th, 28th, and 29th here at Williamsville High School. When we return, we'll take a look ahead at the upcoming week for both the BBs and the Bullets.
Next time you're in the market for insurance or financial planning, stop by and see Country Financial Representative Ed Legner at 318 Crossing Drive in Sherman, or give him a call at 217-496-2341. And now, back to the show.
Welcome back to Williamsville Sports Weekly, presented by Ed Legner, Country Insurance Financial Representative out of Sherman, Illinois. You can visit Ed for all your insurance and financial needs. Another two great sets of interviews, both by head coach Nick Beard and then senior point guard for the Bullets, Jake Pennell. And the real cool thing about listening to Jake there, and Coach Beard talked about it, and we even talked about it at the top of the show with Coach Hampton and I, is to see a kid to be able to mature and grow over their 4 years here, and just to become a leader and really gain some life skills through athletics. And that's the big thing with educational athletics, is to prepare kids for when they leave school here and be successful in whatever field they're going to choose, whether it's college, the workforce, the military, trade schools. And Jake's one of those kids you can tell just by listening to him, he gets it, and he's done a lot of great things on the court so far, and I think he's doing a lot of great things coming up the rest of the season and in his life too. So we really appreciate Jake coming on and talking with us, and we wish him the best of luck tonight as they take on the Bulldogs from St. Teresa. Obviously, we do have some weather issues that could affect us. Stay tuned to Twitter at WCSD15 Sports. We'll put any information out there, as well as our Facebook page, facebook.com/WHS Bullets. If anything's going to be canceled, that will be the first place that you'll see stuff. But as I said, tonight, big non-conference game. We'll really get to see where the boys are at in terms of a measuring stick, a different type of play than we normally see here in the Sagamo, and that will really prepare them as they come up into the holiday tournament the week after Christmas, as they'll be off next week. Do have a freshman boys game tomorrow. They'll travel over to Rochester to take on Rochester at 10 o'clock, and then Quincy at noon. So they'll be in action before they take a break for Christmas. And then the girls on Monday will host Illini Central, another Sagamo game, starting at 6 o'clock. They'll be live on WHSBulletsTV.com, where you can also watch a few Sagamo games tonight as well. Go ahead and get that subscription. A lot of great action on there. But then they'll go into the break, too. They'll have off the majority of next week before they start up at the Riverton Christmas tournament on Monday the 26th. Their first game being against North Mac at 4:30. We also have cheerleading, high school looking to qualify for ICCA State. They'll be over at New Berlin tomorrow, along with the junior high as well. Junior high's already qualified, so this is kind of another practice for them before they go to ICC State at the beginning of January. And then the boys are in action on Monday the 19th in a B game against Taylorville before they're off until the county tournament at the beginning of the month. So few things going on in the next week or so. Hopefully we'll have another episode up next week before the break, focusing on the girls basketball side of things with Coach Halford and the girls as they look to go for a second straight Sagamo title. It's currently sitting 3-0, 7-5 overall. So they're sitting pretty good, and things seem to be coming together for them. If you haven't had a chance yet to come out and check them out, you can go back and watch some of the past games on the NFHS Network, WHSBulletsTV.com. We'll take you directly to that link, and hopefully you'll get your subscription today. So until next week, remember, it's always better to be a Bullet.